Now, let me move forward to the first panel because we'll not let you wait furthermore. So our first panel is tapping the potential of connected TV, do's and don'ts of an effective ad strategy. So with coming of smart TVs, the challenge is to reach the audience effectively and coming up with smart ads also. How to do it right, which best practices to follow, how to find out best performance metrics for better ROI, return on investments on ads. These are a few questions that need answers, and trust you me, you're going to get all the answers from the esteemed speakers or the panelists, I would say, who are coming here on stage for the discussion. Can we please arrange the chairs on stage for them, please? So would like to call upon, first of all, our session chair, Anjali Malthankar, who's the National Strategy Director, Tonic Worldwide, who will be moderating the session. Very beautiful and gorgeous. Okay. Anjali is there on stage. You can take this respective chair, ma'am. Yes, a huge round of applause for the beautiful lady out here. After this, I would like to call upon our first speaker of the day, who is Kosal Malladi, Vice President, Madison Digital. Welcome, Kosal. I hope you all are set for the first discussion of the day. We have Mr. Sushant Dayal, Category Manager, NutriliteAmway. Can we have you on stage, please? Okay, he is there with us virtually. So in the meantime, he's joining us. I would call upon our another guest, who is Mr. Anand Thakur, Head of Agency and Mid-Market India, Criteo. Please welcome Anand. Okay, all right. We already started a conversation with you. Can we please, okay. We have just left the space for him to join, Kosal to join. That's why we have, I'm sorry, on the screen. Okay. Now, our next guest is Mr. Shetanshu Dikshit, who is the lead digital communications Pernod Ricard India. Welcome, Shetanshu. All right. So Sushant is like joining us virtually. He's there. Okay. In the meantime, he's joining us. Can we start the discussion? All right. So all our esteemed speakers along with our moderators there. So over to you, Anjali.
Thank you. Hello everyone. So I think we'll begin with our first panel discussion on connected TV, the potential of it, and also the do's and don'ts, which will help us get the best ad strategy. So we will start with the basic of the potential for the connected TV. Hey, hi Sushant. We can't hear.
See you well.
Can't
and a
hear
very
you.
warm welcome, Sushant, to DATAMATIXX
Thank
Summit
you.
and Awards 2022. How is the feeling of joining virtually?
Wow, this looks like a wonderful combination. What the digital world has already arrived, I would say. I think that's what makes me feel right now. It's great to be virtually present and feeling great about it. I just make sure that whether I'm audible or not. I just want to.
Yes, you are.
Yes, that's great. That's great. So looking forward to insightful
Yes.
discussion now.
Yes. So Sushant, we just began. We were just introducing the topic. It's about the connected TV, and today we're going to discuss the potential of it with the panel and also try to get some answers to it. Just to begin with the data, let me quote a number, and we were just discussing at the backstage actually, and there are multiple other numbers also which are popping up. But the audience base for connected TV, as per the Madison report 2022, is 45 million. And it's expected to go up to 120 million by 2025. And that itself shows us the potential of this. But let's open up the question to the panel. I think, Kosal, do you want to go first? Tell us about the potential of it.
Okay, hi. So if you honestly ask me, And this is something a lot of us have probably experienced in the last few years, and I don't really need to repeat this, but I'll still repeat it. After the 2016 Geo revolution happened and the numbers increased, I think a lot of us actually started logging out of our linear TV ecosystem into the connected TV, and this is probably true for a lot of us sitting in the room. Has it gone at a pan-India level? Maybe not really. But we are still talking about 40, 50, 60 million or 100 odd million users on connected TV today, right?
Right.
Personally, I logged out of my linear TV in 2000, I think 16 or 17 after my daughter was born, because she never allowed me to watch TV. She would want to watch what was happening and she wanted choice. In the last few years, she knows how to handle a remote, she knows how to skip an ad, she knows how to do everything. We recently went on a vacation and the hotel room did not have a connected TV. And she was aghast. And by default we were, because she didn't give us peace after that. So yes, we had to give it up. So it is the reality. Is it the reality of today? Yes, for a lot of us. Is it the reality at a pan-India level? Maybe not at the level we think it is. Linear TV still exists and it is huge, right? However, it is suddenly going to scale, and unless we get on the ship today, we'll suddenly realize that we've
So it's
lost
huge
the
potential.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Sushant, you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly, I would say from a connected TV standpoint, one of the few things, if you would see the reasons for growth,
Right.
you've already captured the data which is there, but I would say the reasons for growth has been, number one, I would say it is the decrease in price of data plans. I think India is one of the biggest markets of internet users now. New demographic group is opening up in the digital first world. The cheapest mobile data with it's ranging to around 8 to 10 rupees per GB. So clearly there is a decrease in price point. So that's number one. The number two is the cheap availability of smart TVs in the market, and it's flooded with smart TVs nowadays, and it's affordable at a lower price, right? And in fact, if you go on Flipkart, on multiple other channels now, platforms, you will get it at just around rupees 15,000 to 20,000 in that range itself.
So affordability is again, it's boosted this whole phenomenon.
Absolutely.
Right.
The third thing I think which Jio has done is the accessible internet content, right?
Yeah.
And even that is at affordable prices. Consumers are now spoiled for choices with the internet content, and India has now become one of the fastest growing OTT market as well. So clearly that's the third reason. The fourth reason I would say, which has completely transformed connected TV, is the availability of devices to stream content. I think dongles, the internet set-top boxes, the adoption that it has taken place, right? And very little fuss is there in terms of even setting it up for the internet connection. So clearly these are some of the key reasons why we've seen such an exponential growth happening for connected TV in India.
Sure. Anand, do you want to go next?
Yes, I think I echo the same points what the two panels spoke here. There's no doubt this is established that content consumption, on-demand content consumption, it's exploded. Whether that's OTT, CTV, we all agree. But depending on who you are talking to, there are different estimates that we have right now. But broadly, there are about 400 million online on-demand content consumers in the country. Again, depending on you talking to, there are about 30 million to 100 million CTV viewers in the country. We're talking about this.
Yes.
I think this explosion of new channels and audiences brings in a little bit of challenge for marketers in terms of audience fragmentation and, more importantly, measurement. So the basic question is, are we looking at CTV now as an extension to your linear TV campaigns?
Yeah, is it an amplifier or is it a standalone?
Or we'll still continue to look at CTV as an extension of a digital campaign?
Right.
If we do look at CTV as a digital channel and not an extension of linear TV, then the question is, how do I identify a user on CTV?
Absolutely. I think those are the things we will definitely
and two,
be discussing.
how do I continue the conversation with the same user post the exposure on CTV?
Right.
Those are two very pertinent and open question as an industry, not a particular.
So potential, absolutely, but there are a lot of questions to be answered as well.
Yes, yes,
All right.
yeah.
Great. Shetanshu, do you want to go next?
So I think 3 pointers as the other people in the panel kind of talked about. Number one is smart TV. In fact, let me kind of get into the data part of it. 84% of the total TV shipments in 2021 was smart TV. This number was 67% in 2020. So number one is everything is smart today. So
Yes.
smart TV, accessibility, price points, absolutely. In
We're
fact,
living in smart times.
smart TV makes absolute
Yes.
sense of the features
Right.
which it has to offer.
Right.
Number second is that from a consumer standpoint, he's looking for a better sound, he's looking for better experiences, and he's spoiled with choices because he has control in his own hands. Right? So the entire TV watching trends have evolved.
Experience, yes.
Right? So experience makes a lot of sense today. And number third, I feel, is the NTO, which is the new tariff order, which came into picture in 2019. Now, if you look at during those times in 2019, and prior to that, we used to have a package, right? And we used to buy that. I remember the package which I bought was precisely for 484. It's a number stuck in my head because हर बार मैं वही लेता था. अब क्या होने लगा है? What's the current scenario right now? You can actually buy it at less than $100 per month if you calculate. Because if I buy one content subscription, I'm getting access to other content, right? So gone are the days when you used to sit at a specific date, specific time, watch XYZ reality show coming on a TV. Now you can watch it at your own will. Now let me talk about the repercussions of it in terms of how does an advertiser look at it. There's a saying which is, a home is where the heart is. But I think the saying has to be, an advertiser is where the consumer is. We always look at connected TV from a media standpoint as a audience buy platform. It's not an inventory buy platform. IPL is an inventory buy.
Yeah.
This is an audience buy platform. Because I can reach out to Anjali, for that matter, who is present on a connected TV, watching a IPL match, vis-a-vis on a linear TV, I'm doing a spray across the demographics.
Spend some time on actually comparison, right? Linear TV versus connected TV. What do you think? Do you think it's a complete shift now? Is that what you're seeing, or how do you compare it with
So, one of the campaigns which we did at a previous organization at ITC, let me give that example to you guys and to the audience sitting over here. We ran this campaign during IPL. An ad was made for a linear TV. Now think of an ad going on a linear TV. It has its own GRP being burnt and it has its own reach numbers.
Right.
But I cannot identify, as I told you, Anjali vis-a-vis someone who's interested in food. What we did with CTV as a first approach is we created specific ad for one of our e-store, which we opened. And we sprayed it in a way wherein it was targeted to specific metros, people interested in food at a specific time slot during IPL matches. What we got as a key takeaway was across the funnel, number one is reach, number one is new entrant, and number third was driving traffic and an average order value, which people could buy. So you could actually track end to end, yes, from top funnel to bottom funnel. Yes, challenges are, it's a niche space, numbers are limited, but the growth, if you look at, 2x times a person is prone to watching a video content on connected TV. It's 2x time. So his propensity to skip an ad is less because a skip an ad is click. The behavior also is not you pick up a remote and skip. People do, of course, skip ads. But that behavior is click vis-a-vis using a remote. That still is a nuance to play with.
Right.
So that's my
It's
point
a nice
of
example
series.
that you brought.
Am I audible now? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I would agree to that. In fact, it's very true for one of the campaigns that we recently did for consumer electronics brand, right? And while we were talking about linear TV versus connected TV, if I'm to just compare the skip rate on a connected TV versus a mobile device, the skip rate is much lower on a connected TV, and it could be because of the users don't want to use the remote to skip, and that's absolutely true. In fact, when I got to know about this data from my team, I asked them to send me the report because I wasn't 100% sure whether they. In fact, my first question was, "Are you telling me this data because I'm asking you, or are you telling me on the back of data? Show me the report." So that's how it was, and that's absolutely true. Yeah, and in fact, I just want to add to that. While I don't know the exact campaign, the details you're talking about, maybe, and I'm hazarding a guess here, if the campaign ran on an IPL, for example, on linear TV, and you did a connected TV targeting at the same time, or if you did some listening and then targeted audience on connected TV due to whatever reason, the final conversion might have happened because of the frequency that connected TV built, and not necessarily the first impression or the first reach that the connected TV did. And as an industry, while we might not have these answers, I think we need to strive to get to these answers, and that will become very important, and that will be our responsibility to arrive at eventually.
So complete viewing is one of the advantages I see in connected TV.
No, I would say, see, it's not about complete viewing, right? Like, as a user, if I have a device that's 5 whatever, what do you call this, 5 meters or whatever it is, right? I can just quickly hit on the skip button, but if I have to actually pick up the remote and hit a skip, I might not. So I get a higher completion rate. And also, as an audience and as slightly older users who are used to watching ads on TV, I get a little less irritated if I see an ad on TV versus me seeing an ad on mobile device. And it's an assumption here, but a lot of people have actually echoed the sentiment. So it could be a mix of both.
Sushant?
Just to add, there are two things to it from a media standpoint, if one has to sum it up. Number one is incremental reach. As a marketer, we are always looking at that extra incremental reach.
Yes.
It's an audience set which you really can't reach out to with a linear TV. So it allows you to have an incremental audience reach. And number second, as discussed, it's media effectiveness. It's an effective media vehicle for you, right? Which is giving you an inventory buy again. An audience buy. It's not an inventory buy. I can't block an inventory. I'm blocking an audience. So that's the key learnings from connected TV, CTV, yes.
Great. Sushant, Anand, anybody wants to go on the comparison linear TV?
Yes, I agree. I think, but fundamental level, I think I kind of disagree with what's being discussed here. Is we at Criteo, we've fundamentally been a performance first, and performance has been in our DNA.
Absolutely.
And performance could be anything. Reach, frequency builder is a performance. You're driving some behavioral change for a consumer, right? Our problem is, if I can't identify a user on CTV right now, how do I measure any kind of performance?
Right.
What we started doing right now, we have something called identity graph, and IP address is part of this identity graph. We use this IP address to target a particular user on CTV, and once I target that user on CTV, because I have his associated device IDs with me, I can continue the conversation, whether that's exposing him with a display ad or trying to look at view through attribution. Did the user, after viewing your ad on CTV, land on your website or not, for example? This attribution can be completed once I map this user to all his devices.
So this is a limitation. So now I think we are discussing what are the challenges rather.
Yes,
right?
to us, yes, that still continues to be a challenge.
So identity
is because this is not a challenge if you're working with one particular publisher partner or one particular device owner, Samsung or any other partner. But the moment you look at it as a CTV generic word, there are challenges. You've still not solved web and device ID problem yet 100% completely. This one more dimension we're adding to the mix. And it's work in progress still, I think.
Anybody wants to add to that? Or Sushant, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I think I resonate with what my co-panelists are saying, and definitely I think what CTV does is definitely it provides targeted TV and also measurable. I think those are the two big points. But from a consumer standpoint, and definitely as the taste of the consumers also evolve, we need to slice and dice the consumer segments whose needs which cannot be met by the traditional ways of communication, right? Like the mass media platforms. And there's a need to target cohorts of consumers that TV cannot do efficiently. So there is only so much that can be communicated on a 30-second ad that we've been doing on TV. But where there is a need to explain certain benefits of the products to the consumer in a more engaging way, in a medium with higher frequency, that is where I think connected TV comes into place. And if you look at from a marketer's perspective, when I was looking at television as a whole, I was actually throwing my ad spots out there and just waiting for the right kind of PG to really pick it up. Now, but with this connected TV, I as a marketer, I can choose which household I need to capture. So from that perspective, and there are multiple benefits that connected TV, as I told you, gives in it. It gives me incremental reach, as my co-panelists have been talking about. It gives me more interactivity with the consumers. And then third thing, which is very important, is it also gives me more time with the consumer, because that's where and that really helps us in building your brand awareness, and opportunities for conversions also increase.
Sure. So you're talking about brand awareness and also conversion, right? And we spoke about more time that you're getting with the audience. So does the format also change the way you communicate on connected TV, and any examples of that? Anybody?
This is the biggest challenge if one is to ask an answer. We look at Facebook, they give a best practice. Instagram has its own best practice.
Right.
And we have to be respectful to the platform for the creative which we create. And we were discussing while we were kind of working this out, we were discussing this as well, that normally an ad is created and we then think about how do we put it on digital. If one has to ask what is the best practice for a creative format on CTV, I think it's a question mark. Because the consumer on a CTV is completely different. As again, we've discussed this. A consumer is young, he's tech savvy, he's more digitally evolved. He's someone who is a 25 to 35, very smart choices, very prudent, right? So an ad thrown at a CTV, is there a best practice in terms of creative formats? I'm not sure. There's no best practice in a way.
And I think it's just begun, and a lot of experimentation.
But what we can possibly look at is slightly more rich media-driven ads.
Okay.
Slightly more immersive, as Sushant talked about, slightly more immersive. If you look at an ad of, say, National Geographic, the water flowing, it's more 3D, it's more interactive in a way. It hits you, it hits your eyes, right? And we call it in digital as thumb stoppers, right? These ads are thumb stoppers because your thumb stops while scrolling. Is there a creative format for a CTV? Question mark. But there has to be which is slightly more rich, slightly more immersive, slightly more interactive. That's a challenge, yes.
Right. So that comes from the behavior and the time that we are getting with the consumer. Yes, Anand.
And I think just to add to this point, fundamentally the two platforms changes how the content is being consumed, right? Mobile devices, fundamentally they are individual consumption devices. CTV is not. CTV is back to a TV kind of consumption behavior. It's a more social setup. You're typically watching with a couple of friends or somebody in your house.
Right.
So I think that also should have an influence in kind of the creative choices that we make on CTV versus what we're used to on mobile ads. Both digital, yes, but the viewing pattern changes on both platforms.
Yeah, and I would actually say one thing, right? For a mobile device, we have best practice. We say that, and YouTube has said this so many times, saying that have a close shot of the face and have the message come out in the first 5 seconds, and so on and so forth. And we've read this and heard this and attended multiple seminars about this, right? The fact of the matter is, a CTV is actually closer to linear TV in terms of the device, right? I would hazard a guess saying that maybe a mainline TV ad would work just as well. However, what is very, very important for us to understand that it cannot be just one TVC that will do the job. The advantage that a CTV is giving us is data collection. How it is done is something Anand will eventually solve. but you're collecting the data, you're able to retarget the audience, build frequency across multiple platforms. So the media strategy here is what will drive the creative choice, and it'll be creative across multiple platforms. So a video for a
multi-screen.
multi-screen, absolutely. So when we are activating CTV, it cannot be a standalone. It'll have to be a mix of a lot of things, is my belief.
Right. Now that we are talking about consumers, actually, how do you think consumers are looking at ads on connected TV as an experience?
I think it's more about control today. So consumers today have control, they have accessibility. In fact, kudos to the content being streamed on entertainment and OTT platforms. Right? So just to give the numbers, Stranger Things for that matter, it crossed almost 1 billion of watch time, which is humongous. And people watched almost 14 hours in a trot. If there's a smart ad in between or a smart ad while watching that streaming service, that's a smart placement. Again, as discussed, can it be a linear TV? Maybe, maybe not. But it has to have that features which are interactive, rich, and more experiential led.
Right. But what I'm actually trying to also understand is that, is there a sort of a irritation expected from the consumer because they were just getting onto this whole, sort of experience, uninterrupted experience, which otherwise was very much present in TV, versus then moving on to, OTTs introduce them to uninterrupted entertainment?
Honestly, personally, yes. The reason I stopped watching linear TV was because of I didn't want to be interrupted. I had 20 minutes to finish a 30-minute show in. So even when I was using Tata Sky back in 2010, 12, 13, whatever it was, I had the recording feature on. So I would never actually watch a live TV. I'd record something and then watch it later on. And that's the truth of the way I was behaving. And right now also, I have taken up a YouTube Prime just so that I can avoid an ad, right? But I'm not necessarily the right person to speak with. As in, yes, consumers get irritated, but the fact of the matter is it's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper, yeah. I mean, let's be realistic.
So it'll have the same creative challenges as at some point in time the linear TV had for grabbing the attention of the consumer. Right?
So as you said, it's paid. Yeah. So it's click versus swipe. It's not a swipe. It's again a click only, but it's a mobile click to a TV click. Yeah. So it's more effortful in a way.
Yeah. Right. So Shan, do you want?
Once I identify this, then I start thinking, okay, is it most cost efficient and effective to reach this user on CTV, OTT, or on the open internet?
Right.
So that decides the factor. Can I reach this user more cost effectively on OTT? Then yes, I should reach him on OTT. If no, it's very difficult to reach this kind of an audience base at a particular frequency, and you need to add a CTV in the media mix, you should add a CTV media mix. So audience first approach is what we're starting to see with most brands who work with us.
Okay.
And then we look at channels and optimizing for destination or platform.
Right.
Because there will always be a new shiny kid on the block. There'll be audio tomorrow and it's CTV today. Right. There will always be one new kid in the block.
Okay. So
just to add, YouTube, if you look at brands, how they are trying to make your CTV today, they're using YouTube mastheads on CTV. They are working really well from a format window. Second thing is the video campaigns, which video dash campaigns, precisely what they call it as, it works really well. From a window of targeting or demographic, geographic, psychographic, interest-wise, and putting a frequency cap.
Right.
So I can actually show Anjali, I'll take Anjali as an example today. I can show Anjali a connected TV ad precisely 3 times in a day. Of course, it comes at a premium, but you can have a frequency cap as well. So targeting-wise, you have all the options, but it comes at a premium. But the positive is a recall value. When people see, people remember because it's less cluttered right now. So that's the opportunity part of it, yes.
Interesting. Very interesting. Sushant, do you want to add, or I have one final question?
Yeah, I mean, just a pointer, I would say. We've already covered points. I think the addition to what my co-panelists have said, I think one of the fundamental things which are also very important now is one is integrating the marketing team itself, which are working it. So earlier we used to have brand managers, marketing managers, and there will be a digital marketing specialist. I think it has to be integrated from an organization standpoint as well. That anyone who's doing has to have digital first, of course. The other thing is actually cross-device measurement is a big key right now. Right now, I mean, we are measuring different mediums in a different way. TV is measured separately, digital separately. If there's a way, and we can partner with some agency who can do cross measurement of all the devices that a consumer is being exposed to. The ability to track that conversion, the app conversion, or the trigger events that are triggered by a connected TV, that would give a massive boost to any campaigns that we do.
Cross-measuring, I think that point actually, that's what we were going to go next, which is the matrix and the ROI, but that's one of the points. Any point you want to add to the ROI?
Yeah, okay. So we can talk for half an hour on this, but I think the buzzer will sound again 20 times. So yes, cross measuring is extremely important, and somewhere, when you try to put a single metric in place about, let's say, reach, let me take an example of FMCG or a CPG sector, right, where reach is very important. So for the longest time, a lot of marketers have tried to put a single tracking metric in place in terms of reach, saying 3+ is effective on TV. So if I do a 3+ plan on digital, what is my effective reach going to be? And then you have questions about what is effective. Is 3+ on TV equivalent to 3+ on digital, or is it 2+ on digital, or is it 4+ on digital? And depending on on what money needs to go on which medium, that's come from the top, the metric changes, right? And that's the truth of where we are. So with CTV coming into place, somewhere it's easier to say 3+ on TV, for example, is equivalent to 3+ on CTV. And that's something that marketers find it easier to digest, right? And then of course there are cost factors, etc., that come into place. That's one. Second, actually adding to what Anand was saying in terms of measuring the end goal for performance, do we need to do that? I mean, I'm now just being a devil's advocate here. For 30 years, TV's worked on a back panel with, of course, there was measurement, and this 3+ and 5+ has not come out of thin air. It's come out of analytics exercises, right? So if data is a challenge, can we use analytics to arrive at this, right? And I think a lot of marketers have tried to do that. And while I very casually said a 3+ is equivalent to 4+ or 2+ basis, the mandate that comes in, the fact is there is a lot of analytics that's gone into this. And that's a fact. And I think eventually it will be about data measurement as well as analytics, because Google will never open up the data to a Facebook, and vice versa, and Amazon will create its own walled garden, and so will Criteo eventually, right? No. So okay, maybe not, but yeah, so so that's how I think it is.
Great, thank you everyone. I think we will end the discussion now. I hope you all got your insights from this session. Thank you.
Have a huge round of applause for all our esteemed speakers and our wonderful session chair as well. Thank you so much everyone for making it